Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about conducting scientific research as a student, and I'm going to focus on the oral examination that typically occurs at the end of the research. Then my presentation will have the following outline. First, I'm going to look at preparations for oral examinations. Then I'm going to look at the oral examination itself, or the oral presentation. Then I'm going to summarize or end with a summary. So let's get started. Research students, in universities typically undergo oral examinations at the end of their research. And in this oral examination, preparations are important, and it takes time to actually do these preparations. You need to work towards it over a long period of time. And as a student, you must prepare adequately for the oral examinations. And you must also have command over the core items of the research, or over the foundational items of the research, such as the problem statement, the method you used in carrying out the research, your results, and the implications of your results to the global scientific community. You must be able to explain all these things, and you must be able to also convince the panel. And you must also study, and you must be ready to answer all questions related to your research. And in an oral examinations for research in particular, you as a student, you have an opportunity to convince the panel as to how relevant your research is to the global scientific community. Because if you're able to do a good job in convincing the panel, you can pass, or you can get to have a high marks, for the examinations. In the oral presentation, you explain the details of your research work to the exam panel. There's typically a panel of people who are listening to you, who engage you, who assess you at the end of your presentation. So you should be able to explain your presentation to this particular panel. And the exam panel listens to you, they engage you, and they give you marks at the end. And it is not compulsory that you have to pass. You can actually go through the process and still fail. So it is important that you're able to put your points across in a very valid manner, such that you pass. And as a student, during the presentation, you are required to deliver your presentation to the best of your ability. You need to organize your points well, and you need to also communicate clearly to the panel, so your panel should be able to understand you and actually assess you well. Avoid using confusing language at all times. And under no circumstance, as a student, should you be emotional about any feedback received from any of the panel members. You shouldn't take things personal during an oral presentation. Whatever comments the panel has, you listen, you adapt, you agree, you disagree, and then you move on. It's as simple as that. And at the end, it is an examination, just like any other examination. And as a student, you should be more interested in passing the examination than in engaging in arguments with the panel, because at the end of the day, the panel actually has the power to assess you and actually mark you, and based on your performance, you can either pass or fail, and you should be interested in passing. So in summary, every research student in a typical university undergoes oral examination at the end of their research. And in the oral examinations, as a student, you're required to explain the details of your research to the exam panel. What problem you solved, how did you go about it, what results did you get, and what is the meaning of the results, and how important is the results to the global scientific community. You should be able to explain this to the panel. And the panel will listen to and award you marks based on how the presentation goes, and you can pass or you can fail. And as a student, you have a responsibility to prepare adequately for the oral examination, so you can actually deliver without any hitches. And you should be able to deliver the presentation, and under no circumstance should you actually take comments personally or emotionally. It is an academic discussion. Whatever it is, whatever feedback the panel gives you, you listen, you adapt, you agree, you disagree, and you move on. You take nothing personal. So at this point, I'd like to thank you for watching my presentation.